Well, it was a really an excellent basketball game. Two teams competing very hard. And it's hard to believe this is our conference opener. You have 17 more left. But we beat a really good basketball team tonight. I've given Arizona State a lot of praise with my comments when asked questions about them over the last couple of weeks for no reason other than I believe that. I think they're a really good team, and what we got from them tonight is what we expected. And they have great, ability to score quickly. They can change the game, what seems like in single plays, and 3, 4, 5 plays in a row can be strung together where it's 12 points. Dynamic in transition, and I haven't really seen a guard who's become as good at getting fouled as Trey Holder. He shot 16 free throws. Some teams haven't shot 16 free throws against us, and he's just so explosive. 31 points. He's a monster. He's like I'm trying to think who he reminds me of. He's almost like Kevin Johnson who played for the Phoenix Suns. I know he's out here and he just has the ability with incredible ball handling and quickness and the way the team's set up of he's at the rim. So, but for about 30 minutes of the 40, we couldn't have done a better job defending them. I thought some of their turnovers were because of our defense. Some of their missed threes were challenged, and we'll take it. If they're that good of a team, then I think that says a lot about our team. And Alonzo and DeAndre, their performance was spectacular. I hope everybody in McHale realizes what 23 points and 19 rebounds feels like for a freshman. You don't see that very often, and that's what DeAndre had. At the end, he had some unforced turnovers, or forced turnovers. He wasn't used to getting a rebound and nobody running back, So, but he's young. He'll learn from it, and as will our team. And same thing with Alonzo. Sometimes he'll start slow, but as the game keeps going, he finds his rhythm, and he's great to have the ball in his hands at the end of games because he can really shoot free throws, drive, shoot from the three, and he's become a really good passer. Sometimes I find myself saying, man, he's come a long way for me to say that. But 4 assists, no turnovers in tonight's game, again, speaks volumes for how he's started to find his teammates and take care of the ball. So at the end of the day, we'll take it. It was a great, great win for us. We worked really hard coming back from the Christmas break, and we knew we were in for one heck of a game. And if we weren't playing at a high level tonight, we wouldn't have won.
How important was it or significant was it to keep them under 80?
I'm sorry.
How important or significant was it to keep them under 80?
I don't really think that way. I guess we held them under their average. And the game was really funny. We really came unglued last 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I would be interested to see the stats at that 35, 36-minute mark. One thing, for example, our turnovers. We probably would have had more about 11 or 12 turnovers at that point than 16. That's a big difference. And we had some opportunities that we didn't get, and we had some opportunities we gave them. Parker, he had that layup. I think that would have put us up 12. The ball went from like the rim to that rim for a three-point play so fast, your head spun, and that went from 10 to 7 instead of up 12. And they had a couple plays like that as well where they missed a couple easy shots.
When Alonzo's starting slow, do you find ways to get him better looks, or is he the type of player where eventually he's just going to kind of figure it out?
He's that type of player, but certainly we always look at that. Is there something we can do to help him? But, yeah, I would say that's something he's done this year. He's started slow and finished strong, and we need him maybe to just start strong and finish strong. And what would that game look like? I mean, it would be a monster game because, again, he had 23 points, 35 minutes, 4 assists, no turnovers.
You guys were up several times, double digits, and they would come back, and you guys would be up by 9, come back. Is that a good sign that you guys were able to weather those storms, or is it more of a negative that you were able to let them come back?
No, they're a really good team. We're not going to beat them by 20 points or 10, 15 points. For us to win that game going away, a lot of things would have had to really fall in place. The difference between the two teams isn't big enough for that game to go that direction. It was hard fought the whole time, and That's why they were undefeated coming into our game.
So DeAndre's so understated. He had what, 20? You said 23 and 19, and he's kind of like comes in here, doesn't say a whole heck of a lot. Is he kind of that guy, or is he just playing? You know, what kind of guy is he?
You know, DeAndre has a great attitude. He's fun to coach. He's a really unbelievable teammate. He rises to the challenge. Big games bring out the best in him. He was ready for tonight's game, and thank goodness. I mean, we needed, if you think about it, almost that type of effort. And he really put the game out of reach. When we won the game, it was because of his dominance close to the basket and getting fouled. And we did a good job of getting him the ball deep. And that's not as easy to do as everybody thinks. And I also thought DeAndre, man, for the most part, did a really good job on defense and in the job and the role that he had. You know, one thing, Romello White didn't have his typical game tonight. And, you know, that combination of Dusan and DeAndre, I'm sure affected him at least to some degree.
What did the ref explain to you on DeAndre's technical foul? It seemed like nobody knew really what was going on.
I think he might have bumped somebody after the whistle. So we'll have to look at it. Again, DeAndre's smart. He's not a guy looking for problems. Probably has to just make sure he understands the rule. You know, coming from high school to college, you're not allowed to do that, and if you do, here's the consequence. But in a game like that, I was actually surprised that the call was made. But it was a tough game to referee. I mean, it really was. It was fast, had a lot of emotion, a lot of things going, but they did a good job.
What does a game like that do for your team in a Pac-12 opener, especially you guys are going to Colorado and Utah in the next week? You know, how does this game kind of get your guys ready for that mindset, for that kind of grind?
Well, that's the hard part. You know, whether you win or lose this game, you have, you know, really tough trip on Thursday, Saturday. I know Utah. It's not easy to beat Oregon, especially there. Must have played great. I haven't watched them. That's our first game, and you know, it's about moving on. This game's over, and we have to play Arizona State there, which will be a monster game. I mean, so we have 17 games in front of us, and we have to take it not one game at a time, but really the process of going from this game. You know, you have to be able to handle New Year's Eve day. Then you have to be able to handle New Year's Eve. Then you have to handle New Year's Day, and you know, you add all that up. These are young guys. We have to be really smart, disciplined, and make sure we have some really good preparation. We had a very mature group leave us, go home for Christmas, come back, practice hard, and get ready for tonight's game. It's a big reason we won. We worked hard.
You have an early practice scheduled Monday to counteract New Year's Eve, or how does that work?
No. There's you know, there's some give and take and trust. I think we usually practice late in the morning, early in the afternoon.
Alonzo mentioned that to him this was kind of just another game. Did you feel that throughout the week at practice, or was the intensity up? Or
I don't think he says that in any disrespect towards the opponent or the rivalry. I think, you know, what you try to sell to players, this is one game. We have 17 more left. You know, this isn't a bowl game where you win, great, you lose, you're done until next year. It's the beginning of a long journey in a conference season. So not get too high, not get too low is probably what he meant by that comment, and that's what we really tried to stress to those guys.
Given everything that was said before this game, did you think the contest itself kind of lived up to what everybody thought it was going to be?
It felt to me like a really good game. I mean, there's a lot of good players out there on both sides, not just our team, but both teams have very, very good players. And, you know, in Arizona State's side, it's refreshing to see those seniors. They have really improved. And I remember them when they were freshmen and sophomores and juniors, and they were good. But, man, you could tell they've spent a ton of time in the gym, and they've made themselves into some really terrific players. And that's to Bobby Hurley and his staff's credit, and that's something that we have to do. You look at our team, developing our bench, developing our freshmen, developing our players where they have more confidence, making better plays. You know, Dylan Smith making 3 threes tonight was big for us. And we have to get those guys, continue to develop them.
How do they help you in the past? Sometimes they're not as good, but as a traveling partner, where it's going to be 2 tough games for that opponent coming like next week, how does that help?
I don't know if it helps or not. Sometimes if you play against a really bad team, well, then they're not going to be ready for a good team. You can flip it. I mean, What I will say is, when the Arizona schools visit the Pac-12, really what I hope is that our counterparts see is going to be 2 really tough games, certainly.
You talked before about the importance of keeping them off the line. They shot 6 in the first half. I know it's mostly Holder, of course, but in the second half, 19. Was there a difference in the way it was being called, or was that just Holder being more aggressive than you ever, or why
He just 16 free throws, and it is what it is. He made 15. I mean, whether you agree with the foul or not, I mean, he is coming at the basket constantly, and we're not the only team that he's done that to. But in the first half, we certainly did a much better job. And again, there's a wearing down effect. You know, it's hard to play that level of defense for 40 minutes. We probably strung, I would say, 28, 30 minutes together. And keep in mind, a lot of their baskets and fouls at the end weren't because of our defense. They were because of our offense. When you're turning the ball over and coughing it up in the backcourt and you're not getting a shot, that has nothing to do with 5-on-5. That's like 2-on-1, 3-on-2, an open 3. So they took advantage and got to the foul line as much because of our turnovers at the end of the game. We didn't handle the ball, finish the game well at all. And we were fortunate. We put ourselves in a position to possibly lose the game when maybe we could have just paraded to the foul line and won by maybe 8 points.
You said that you did a good job getting the ball in deep to DeAndre. Is that different? You talked about that before, how important it was, obviously, to get him the ball. I mean, is that something that the last couple of weeks you've noticed a difference in with this team?
You know, whoever coaches him, that's what you're going to judge yourself on. We don't have any magic potion. You have to get him the ball. Just remember now, it's not just his points, it's his passing. He might have had a turnover or 2 post-trapped, but he finds teammates. Alonzo's 3-point shot, big 3 from the right wing, was just a function that they choose to double team him. So he's making the defense pay with his passing and his scoring.
A lot of the focus coming into the game was on their guards, and then obviously Ayton and Trier. Do you think PJC was undervalued tonight in terms of the national spotlight?
You know, he did a good job. Parker, he just 6 assists, 1 turnover. He's a 3-to-1 assist to turnover guy. I know he feels bad. He had that layup, which was just kind of opened up like the Red Sea. That was a real turning point in the game. But you know, obviously he'll make it. But again, you're playing that hard. You're running full court. The conditioning, you know, Arizona State's pace can really wear you down.
It's always loud in here, but did you notice it was especially loud tonight?
You know, our crowd is one of the best crowds in the country. Night in, night out. Doesn't matter if the students are here. Doesn't matter if they aren't. They're the best, and we appreciate what they mean to our home court advantage. And they're also one of the most knowledgeable crowds in the game. When our team is down or things aren't going well, you know, today's way is you just start booing. And you know, our crowd senses that we need a pickup, and that's when they a lot of times will get the loudest, which is remarkable. Not a lot of crowds are like that, and but that's a tribute to Coach Olson and the history of this place. They've seen so many good teams, big games for decades that they know what to do and how to do it, and we needed them tonight, and they were there.
Moving forward, being a traveling partner with a team that you could be in a potential conference race with, do you think it'll add anything that you guys play essentially the same conference schedule now?
I mean, it'll be fun for our fans, but we have to take it one game at a time. We always have them as our travel partner, so it's not that different for us.